Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. A little bit of technical difficulties there with the podcast. I hope everyone is having a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, this podcast is built around storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Angela. Angela is a warrior in my book. She is a mother of four, a wife, and an entrepreneur. Early on, she became a widow through suicide and was left with children to care for as the religion she was tied to looked right through her with no support. Angela has had to learn how to feel the vibrations of her body and is here to share her truth and what it takes to level up, live your best life, and continue to make strides regardless of what her world has told her. This woman is amazing, and I'm so honored to have her join me today. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. And I before I get into my story a little bit, I have to tell you that I am doing this a month of gratitude exercise for the month of March, and part of that is telling someone each day that I'm grateful for them. And I wanted to tell you that I'm very grateful that you came into my life. We are like we share so much history, and I'm truly grateful to be able to connect people like that are like me in a lot of ways.
Thank
Just wanted to
you.
share
Thank you. Oh, already look at this. I'm just a mess. Thank you so much. I
that.
appreciate that. Who started the month of gratitude? Is this within you?
My business coach actually suggested it. She's doing the exercise. We're going through it together. Um, and she said that she did it in another course that she was doing, and she said the results were phenomenal. So you start your day with writing 6 things that you're grateful for in your life, and one of those things needs to be a person, and you need to tell them that you're grateful for them.
Oh, I love that. That just warms my heart so much. I've literally never heard of that before. Obviously, a gratitude list,
Mhm.
but to actually tell the person.
Yeah.
Oh, that just warms my heart. I'm going to write that down.
I so love I like she's been in my life for 2 years, and I love and appreciate her. She's wise beyond her years, and she's a fellow female badass. I don't know if I can say that, but she's a
Yes,
fellow female badass.
we're all the time. I absolutely love that. Well, good for you, and I'm so pleased that you found her and have her in your life because um, we need more people like that. We need more people reminding us how to do it a little bit better than how we're doing it now, and that's what this whole podcast is about. Like, hey, listen, you're getting along, you're alive.
Mhm,
Congratulations.
mhm.
However, there's some people that have gone through some similar stuff or stuff that's somewhat adjacent to your story where you might be able to pick up a couple of nuggets from them to be able to do your life a little bit better. And I love sitting down with individuals like you because I think that especially, that share our similar stories like you said, to be able to kind of pull from each other, on how to get along and how to move forward. So, thank you for that. That was great.
You're very welcome.
That was great. Hey, what's going on with the wall behind you? Is that panes or is that paint?
So
Or
this is I don't know if I can show you more of it. It's gold bars, and they're all different heights. So like some of them are longer and shorter. They make like a pattern on the wall.
is it
I
like real, like real? Not, it's obviously not real gold, but like it's metal.
No, so it's wood, but it's painted with a gold metallic, like it's actually out from the
Wow.
wall to make it like a 3D.
I love it.
So we're in the process of redoing a lot of our house because we're putting it for sale soon. So we're repainting and refreshing, but we just did my office and it's such a great space to work in now. I love it.
Yes, yes. It's so
Mhm.
funny how I've done that a few times in my life as far as remodeling it right before we move. And then as we're living in it, remodeled, we're like, why didn't we do this before? This is so nice.
So
Um,
I have a real estate agent friend and she says you never love your house more than the day you list
yes,
it.
yes, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Well, listen, I want to jump in. I want to jump in. I would love for you to share, a little bit of your story just so people know, some background. That way, as we kind of go in through, our podcast here, people kind of understand your background and what you've been through and your journey. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love to just kind of hand the floor over to you for a little while and allow you to be able
Sure.
to share.
Yeah. So I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and for many of you that maybe don't know what that is, it's a religion, but it's a cult. It's all about mind control. You're not allowed to think really outside of what you're told to think. And my family was very active. Actually, my parents came about, believe it or not, you see these people knocking on your door and you think, who's going to ever fall for that? My parents, when I was 3, had someone knock on their door and they started to study the Bible with these people and became very, very, very active in the religion. My father went on to be an elder in the religion. Um, he was very much an empath, and he would be the elder. So in that religion, like the Catholic religion, you kind of have to confess your sins, and so they request you or require you to go and talk to an elder. So my dad would be the person everyone would always talk to because he was such an empath and he had such a big heart, and he kind of wore his heart on his sleeve and carried everyone's problems in his own heart. And I saw that wear on him for decades, literally. And I can remember I had a little experience where they had people like called district overseers that go and visit all of the different congregations. And the district overseer was staying at our house. And I shouldn't have, but I overheard a conversation that he and my dad had. And my dad was explaining how tired he was and how he felt he really needed a break and he wanted to take 6 months off. He didn't even say that he wanted to be done. He wanted to take 6 months off. And the response of that person was, you can't take 6 months off. God needs you. We need you. The congregation needs you. You need to continue to sacrifice, time with your family, time with your wife, your own personal emotional health. And about a month and a half after that, my dad tried to take his life. And he had a complete breakdown. And it was extremely hard on my mom and I, and for me especially, because I had heard this conversation and knew that he was pushed to the very limit. And he ended up being in the hospital out of town for about, I'm going to say, a month. I can't remember exactly, but probably a month. And I was at home because I was in high school at the time. My mom stayed with my dad. And so I continued to go to the Kingdom Hall and go to the meetings. And all I heard was all these people who were supposed to be loving and supporting, they were behind my back. And they were saying, oh, the reason my parents weren't home is that my dad beat my mom up and they were waiting for her bruises to heal. And the stories were just wild and ridiculous. And I was so hurt and shocked by these people who had grown up to be like family to me.
Yeah.
They were saying this behind my back and really no support. There was no support. There was no, Angela, can we help you? Can we do something? We're sorry that your dad's in the hospital. There wasn't any of that. Anyway, so that's a little bit of my growing up history. I married one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And in that religion, you get married young because there's no sex before marriage. So people tend to get married really young. And he was 19, I was 21.
Wow.
And we had 3 children pretty fast. Like by the time I was 29, I'd had my 3rd child. He was 27. And when we got married, he confessed to me that he had been sexually abused by an uncle who was 11 years his senior. The sexual abuse wasn't just once, it continued over the years, like from the age of about 3 till 16. And at 16, he was like, what is going on? Like, what is happening here? And it stopped. That uncle was in the religion. He became to be very prominent, receiving what I'm going to refer to as promotions, so that everyone understands it that doesn't know the history of the religion. But he dedicated his life to pioneering, which is going door to door, like an excessive amount of hours a month, and being an elder in the congregation, being a city. He would lived in Montreal. He became the city overseer, so he was looking after all the congregations in Montreal. Got married, had a family, had 3 children of his own, and just out of the blue, we got a call that he had tried to commit suicide. And so my husband and I had a conversation that night, and he said, "Do you think that I should tell them what happened to me? Because obviously there's something wrong in his system or with his mental health that caused him to do this, but he's probably not realizing, and nobody can help him because of all, like, nobody knows." So my husband went to one of the elders, the local elders, and told him what had happened. He, in no uncertain terms, said, "You need to get in your car, you need to drive to Montreal right now, and you need to tell the elders there what you're saying." And because this was a really serious allegation that was being made against somebody who was very prominent in the organization, they sent somebody from Bethel, which is like their head office kind of thing, to be at this meeting. So my husband told his story, told his experience of what had happened to him through his years of growing up. I will say that they didn't live in the same town, so they didn't see each other often. Like, it would have been 2 or 3 times a year they would have seen each other. And he was told that he was jealous of all of the accomplishments that his uncle had in the organization, and that his story was unfounded and lies.
Wow.
And it's so crazy because that uncle got out of the hospital, left his family, left the religion, and started a life with another man, and is now very happily living with another man. So chances are my husband's story wasn't untrue.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So he was devastated. He was devastated that he dug into the very depth of his emotional soul to tell this story and to relive that story, and to be told that. And after his uncle got out of the hospital and left his wife and his kids and everything, there was never an apology made. There was never like, "Oh my goodness, we really made a bad judgment call here," or, "We're really sorry that we said that to you." That was never said. And a couple of months after that, he did commit suicide. And when he
Your
committed,
husband.
yes, my husband did.
Wow.
Yeah. I was,
I'm so sorry.
thank you. He left a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 10-month-old. And at the time, it was so surreal to me. It was like I was living someone else's life. It was like I was watching a movie, or I can't even describe, that the next months. It was just so surreal. And I continued to go to the Kingdom Hall, thinking that that was what I was supposed to do, and that I would be supported. And I will say, at the beginning, there was a lot of like outpouring of love and support. Like, "What can we do for you? Can we help you with this? Can we help you with that?" And that lasted probably for, I don't know, 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I can remember, like, he committed suicide on a Thursday. So Thursdays were always like a big trigger day for me. And we had to go to the Kingdom Hall on Thursdays. And I didn't relate the fact that I would get sick every Thursday. I thought it was because of the trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
But as the years went on, I realized that it wasn't the trauma. It was actually the physical action of having to go to the Kingdom Hall. And it was so bizarre. 3 years went by. I remarried, and I remarried somebody who had grown up in the religion. He actually grew up really close to me. I'd known him since he was a baby.
Oh,
And he's an amazing, amazing supportive person. Like, he's the most supportive person I think I could ever imagine. I can't imagine somebody being more supportive than he is. And I can remember, like, he had a son when we got married. So we had a family of four children. And we continued to go to the Kingdom Hall. We continued it for years. And the same thing held true. Every time had to get ready to go to the Kingdom Hall, I was vomiting. I was sick. I would force myself to go until one day he just looked at me and he said, "Angela, do you not see what's going on?" And I said, "What do you mean? What's going on?" He said, "You are getting physically ill every time you go into the Kingdom Hall because you know that it's not right. You know the hypocrisy that lives there. You know that it's not the truth. And you're doing it out of some sense of obligation or some sense because of your upbringing."
Yeah.
And I thought about it and I'm like, wow, my body knew before my head would accept it.
Yeah.
And we stopped going to the Kingdom Hall. And it was like, yes, there were a lot of losses that were involved with that, but it was so freeing in so many ways.
Wow.
And yeah, we lost people that we loved and cared about in our lives because they totally disassociate you if you're not doing and saying doing what they want you to do or thinking what they want you to think. And that was really hard on me. But one of the greatest joys I've had since then is knowing the friendships that I have are my friends. They're my real friends. They're people who, if their opinion doesn't agree with me, I'm not going to hate them, or they're not going to hate me if we, don't agree on something. They love me. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
don't have to act and behave in a certain manner to be accepted by them. I
Yeah.
mean, within the realms of living a moral and, crime-free life, I guess I'd say.
You can't go around holding
But
up
yeah,
gangs, Angela.
right.
Oh, wow. Um, I I want to ask, when your husband brought that up,
Mhm.
did it take you a second to digest that, or what was your initial
It
reaction?
took me weeks. It took me weeks of actually living the pattern that he had seen. Even though I knew it, and I had to really start, like, digging deep in myself to know, "Okay, why am I getting sick? Like, what's triggering me? What is it?" And at that point, it wasn't just Thursdays, it was Sundays. It was every time we had to go there. And it's unbelievable when you really start to dig deep and figure out, like, it's something we just go about our day-to-day lives and not really think about the reasons why or what's happening or what we're doing. We just do the actions, right? But when you really start to think about it, and it was that I always knew the hypocrisy that lived there was something that I always knew and I always seen. And that's why I told that story about my dad, because how can someone be told in a loving organization that you can't take a break? You can't do this. When you know that this is what you need for your own family and for your own mental health. Like, and it's story after story after story after story the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. How did your children react?
My oldest son was funny because he fought to get baptized when he was 12, and we adamantly said no, that he wasn't doing that. I don't understand anybody being baptized before being an adult. First of all, how do you make these decisions without being an adult? And but surprisingly, he would have probably been 15 when we left, and all of our kids were happy. They were
Wow.
happy. And they were, yeah, I think it was relief for them as
Wow.
well.
Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, the pressure to get baptized young is high. I remember in our congregation, everyone was getting baptized right around maybe 16,
Mhm.
17. And then all of a sudden, 2 kids out of nowhere. One got baptized at 11. a little boy, 11, elder son, crazy. And then there was another one, I don't remember if it was a boy or girl, but same, like 12, like so young. And all of a sudden, the pressure got so heavy on like all of the young adults because it went from, like 17 to all of a sudden 10, not 10, but, a decade younger.
Mhm.
That's an exaggeration, but you understand. So I think I was 14 when that 11-year-old got baptized. And immediately my parents jumped on me as far as what am I doing? What are my priorities? What else is there? What are you waiting for? And I, I don't even know. I don't even remember, but I got baptized. I don't even remember anymore, but it was like probably 14, 15 years old. I wasn't driving yet. And
Same,
and
same.
now yeah, now looking back, it's like, what? Like, you don't even understand the concept of it.
No, it's so wrong.
Yeah. You don't even understand you don't even have hormones raging through your body yet to even be able to make a decision of, "Yeah, I agree with all of these rules." You
Mhm.
know? That was my biggest thing. Like you said, they get married so young because you literally can't even hold hands without getting pulled into the back room.
Yeah.
So, they get you so young, and then before you know it, it's like, dude, there's how in the world am I supposed to live in the confines of all of this? You know?
Yeah, and it is extremely confining.
Yeah, 100%.